This video is inspired by a recent video that I watched from Ali Abdul. So I should probably say cheers, Ali. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to some of the mean, rude, downright negative comments that my channel has received over the past 3 years, because I have noticed there's been a bit of a trend recently on social media with content creators being a little bit more open about the negativity that they often receive. And I think this is a really, really important thing to do, because especially when it comes to what I'm doing here on this YouTube channel, I'm sharing with you the beauty and the reality of everyday life here in South Italy, because I want to educate you, because I know a lot of you watching this channel have future dreams and aspirations to move to Italy, or you want to make Italy your next holiday destination. So it pays to be a bit clued up about where you plan to visit or move to, right? However, if you consistently see negative comments on some of the videos, it can be really easy, even though you might be like, no, I'm not going to listen to it. Somewhere in the back of your mind, that comment is going to be replaying itself a million times and making you second guess what it is you want to do. And I don't want that to happen. So in this video, we're addressing some comments that I have hand selected from previous content over the past 3 years. And I'm just going to dive a bit deeper into it and explain my thought process as to the individual comments that I've received. I don't agree with negativity. I don't allow it to fester on my channel. And so, you know, now I'm a bit more like selective as to kind of the negative comments I allow to appear, because some people just love to spew hate online just for the sake of it, because it's that whole keyboard warrior mentality. But these comments I did allow, and I allowed them because I actually think in a way sometimes it can generate a healthy debate, or it can just show people for what they really are. So comment number 1, this comment, in fact the first 2 comments I'm about to share with you, come from the same video. It is one of the best performing videos on my channel at the moment, where I talk about really the reality of what it's like to live here in Italy. Now, the first comment: I believe that you are simply festering a wound that does not exist. This is a pretty deep comment, isn't it? Festering a wound. What an expression. I will say that video was my personal take on what it's like to live here, based on my own personal, very individual experiences. What we need to remember is that no two people's experiences are going to be the same here in Italy. What I talk about on this channel might never happen to you. You might experience something that will never happen to me. This is life. And so for somebody to say that I'm festering a wound that does not exist doesn't really make any sense, because those experiences that I'm talking about in the video did exist and do exist, and I experienced them. So for me, that was just a bit of a nonsensical comment based on somebody who's watched my video and perhaps doesn't agree with some of the experiences that I've shared, because there are so many people here who have a romanticized view of this country that if you dare to be a little bit authentic about it, they kind of react in ways like this, you know? I really believe you should never downplay a person's experiences or circumstances, because unless you have lived that experience yourself, or you have walked in that person's shoes, you cannot ever really judge how that person has been impacted or affected. So I think you have to be really, really careful about that. Let's move on to comment number 2. This is a horrible tagline. It generalizes a whole culture when you are the central issue here. You are responsible for your happiness and doing what needs to be done to sustain it. Your entire video, you externalize blame. Oh, I do love that at the end, you know, just to add the element of frustration. Okay, so this comment is in part correct. I do believe, yes, you are responsible for your happiness and the way that you sustain that happiness, 100 million %. Nobody external to you, nothing external to you controls your happiness, only you can. That's true. However, when you say that I generalize a whole culture, this is not true. Like, I think in the early days when I started my channel, perhaps I did kind of paint Italy with one brush. I was like, yes, you know, Italians do this and Italians do that. But then the longer I've spent here, the more I've educated myself on really what this culture is like and just how divided this country is. And now I'm just more like South Italy. because I realised that the life here, even though it can vary between different regions in South Italy, is generally different to other parts of Italy. And so, you know, I'm very aware now that you cannot generalise Italy as a country. Not at all. It is way too complicated for that. But I must admit, this video wasn't a generalisation of a whole culture. I repeat, it was my personal experiences. And externalizing blame, I don't think so. Like, those of you who know me know that I'm all about taking personal responsibility for your life, for your actions, for everything. And even in that video, I acknowledge how my lack of Italian really impacted those experiences. I take that on board, I acknowledge it. So for somebody to be like, you're externalizing blame, I just don't think they really understood the video, to be fair. Okay, moving on to comment number 3. This comment was taken from a video where I spoke about life here in Palermo, which in a recent poll was voted one of Italy's worst cities. So this is the comment. This is absurd. Quality of life in Palermo is better than London, which is crippled with crime, high rents, terrible weather, inflation, Brexit, and the list goes on. Okay, so yes, the UK is a troubled country, especially now with the new government in place. I don't want to make this video political, but they're doing some things that are actually quite controversial and I think are going to damage the country, to be fair. But that aside, yes, you're right, high rents, it is ridiculous to live in London now. It's ridiculous to have any kind of quality of life there. I completely agree with you. Terrible weather, absolutely. You know, every day is like a rainy day. Inflation, yeah. Brexit, yeah, all completely true. But in no way is the quality of life in Palermo better. If you don't believe me, I'll just show you a little picture. This is what we have to face every single summer here in Palermo. It's not just a one-off occasion, it's like every summer. We go through cycles. You have a few months where the rubbish is collected, and then you go through a period of months where the rubbish literally looks like that photo in the majority of streets that you walk around in the neighborhoods here in Palermo. It is disgusting. Let me tell you, that is not a quality of life. Also, for example, to have like an infrastructure the way that it is here, to be waiting 1 hour for a bus, to have like bureaucracy that just absolutely cripples you because it's complicated, because you cannot do the things you want to do with ease online, because you literally have to wait bloody months for email responses from people. This is not conducive to a good quality of life. So unless you have spent a decent amount of time here in Palermo, and when I mean decent, I don't mean a 2-week holiday, I mean like 6 months minimum. Unless you have really spent a decent amount of time here, you probably don't notice some of these things, or if you do, they don't impact you in the same way. But when you live here and you have to deal with the inefficiencies on a day-to-day basis, you come to understand that, you know, the quality of life is not fantastic here. London is not perfect. Like, I never sit in this chair and say to you that London is the bee's knees, because it isn't. Goodness me, like, there are so many things wrong with the city, and also, like, you know, so much crime, and just, it's just a bloody nightmare at times in London. But you can walk the streets of London and it be fairly clean. You can cross the road in London and not be like praying for your life. You can look at cars in London and see that they are maintained and well looked after. You can get on a tube in London pretty much 24 hours a day. Like, you know, there is a sense of efficiency in London. You can sit down, you can do a lot of bureaucracy from the comfort of your home in London. Like, it's this. And I feel like, you know, even though both places are imperfect, there is definitely a better quality of life in London, without a doubt. Okay, so the next comment that I'm talking about, I didn't actually list what video it came from, I just collated the remaining comments together. But it was this: Brits, go home and take your warm beer and bad food tastes with you. Oh, it's a bit harsh. I will agree with you about the warm beer though. I have started to see that actually people here I may be onto something with cold beer, but let me tell you something, in the UK, we don't need the refrigerator. We have the natural ambient temperatures that keep the beer fresh. And as for the bad food tastes, well, I don't know. I would say that my diet has definitely improved since moving to Italy. I did eat terribly in the UK, but that was me. Like, you know, I know plenty of people in the UK who have a much better diet than what I had. And also I would say there's a greater variety of food types in the UK. Like if one day you want an Indian, the next day you want a Chinese, the next day after that you want Italian, you can find a restaurant for virtually every food type in the UK. And so I really feel sometimes in Italy that that's lacking. It really does depend on where you are. So I don't know. I think these kinds of comments though, go home. Like, why do these comments exist in 2024? Like, I can sit in this country and I can appreciate this country for its beauty, but also for its flaws as well. But it doesn't mean that somebody has the right to say to you, go home. This is actually my home at the moment. Okay. Comment number 5, I'm increasingly annoyed with your negativity of petty daily obstacles and issues in Sicily and Italy. Unsubscribing. Now, this is interesting. In fact, I based a whole video around this comment because I was like, wow. I'll link it up here. But essentially, when you are talking about issues that really impact your everyday life here in Italy, they are definitely not petty daily obstacles. If you think they are, please come to Palermo, live here for a year, experience the same things, and then tell me just how petty they are. I would love to hear your opinions. But I just think, again, this is because somebody's playing into the romanticized image of Italy. They don't want to hear the negativity. They only want to hear the good stuff. And this is it. Like, if you plan to move here, you need to know about the things that are likely to cause you frustration or potentially likely to cause you frustration. And so you have to educate yourself on this. If you don't, I think you make more of a mistake in that way. So yeah, ciao, I don't really miss you on my channel. Next comment, number 6, too much chattering. Okay, no problem. It's a YouTube video. I speak, yeah, again, just nonsensical. Okay, the next comment, number 7. This is a long comment, but it's interesting. Okay, I spent a lot of time in the UK. I did not criticize anything because I was a guest. I think this means off the nation, and to criticize a person's home is very rude. No country is perfect. Britain has a lot of faults, but to state such to a national in their nation is what we call looking a gift horse in the mouth. Oh, good idiom. Brit do not, in general, take it well, yet they are ready to criticize. Americans to the point it is a genre of comedy and a mainstay of talk shows. Maybe the continuing critical commentary is why most people think Brits are stuck up. Oh gosh, isn't this funny? Like, I have to be honest with you. I give you my observations. If you see my channel, it is the perfect balance, beauty and reality. I'm not here just slagging off Italy. It's a terrible place. I don't like it. Don't come here. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. I sit here and I say to you, this country is problematic, but hello, I'm still here 6 years later. I'm not here chained. I'm free to move if I want to. So for this, it's like, come on, just look at the obvious facts here. Like, explore the channel. This is just a classic example of somebody who's watched one video on my channel and immediately decided that I hate Italy and that I'm being really disrespectful to say what I say. I see the comments from those of you who really appreciate my content, and thank you. Thank you for telling me that you relate to what I talk about. Thank you for telling me that it's helped you or it's opened your eyes in some way. Like, those comments mean the world to me and show me that this is what I need to continue to do. But these kinds of comments are like from somebody who doesn't understand my channel, and also perhaps doesn't understand that in life you are allowed to have an opinion about where you live. Just because you live in another country, you are allowed to have an opinion. Criticize the UK, please do. I'm from London and I often have a few negative things to say about it. So, I mean, come on, it's unrealistic to suggest that somebody can move to another country and never have anything negative to say. I mean, come on, unless you're on a permanent holiday, there are going to be things that stress you out. It's just reality. And then the final comment that I want to talk about, good luck to you sincerely. Thanks. But I don't see you living in southern Italy in the near future. Well, unless you have a crystal ball or you're some kind of tarot reader, I think you're mistaken. I really love it here. And, you know, I've created this whole brand around life in South Italy. It'd be a bit difficult if I suddenly decided to move. I think the fact is people just do not respond well to kind of any aspect of reality when it comes to Italy. And so this is why I have, over the course of the past 3 years, received comments like this on this channel, because people just don't want to hear it. They want to just hear the positive stuff. But let me tell you, I'm a positive person, but I'm also realistic. And I also want to share with you what life is like here so that you have a great time and you don't end up like those whinging expats and people in online forums that simply were not educated about life here before they came and are now kind of experiencing the reality of that, you know? So the next time that people feel inspired to post hate on my channel, this is a lovely message to you that please know it doesn't affect me. I don't allow unnecessary hate on my channel. You can tell me to go home as many times as you want. I absolutely love it here. I'm just going to keep doing what I do because I see how it helps so many of you, that for the minority of people that have a problem with the realistic side of Italy, they can go and watch another channel that tells you the fairy tale. I'm going to keep telling it to you exactly how it is. I'll see you in the next video.